This is the instructional video for the finishing of the Type Fundamentals book. So you'll see here that this entire file is now completed. All the layouts are finished, they've been approved, and now I'm ready to create the cover and then to ultimately export the book to turn in. So you can see that the divider pages have been created. So that instruction was given to you. There's the same frame and the text box inside of them. Make sure that you follow the restrictions that are put on you for these, but you can place the text primarily anywhere you want in the box. So now I'm going to go ahead and come up to the Pages palette because I want to add some more pages so that I can create the front cover and inside cover. So I'm going to click down here. I'm going to add 2. I'm going to move these up. And now the cover needs to be black. So I'm going to go ahead and create a shape here. And I'm going to fill that with black. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to paste it here. Paste in place. If for some reason it's not black, you can always come down here and double click and change this to black. So now I have those 2 black pages that I needed. So I'm going to go ahead and now work on the label. So I'm going to go ahead and create another rectangle, but this time I'm going to double click because I want to actually put in the exact dimensions of the rectangle that I need. So if you look at the instruction sheet, you'll see that the label needs to be 2 inches high. So I'm going to type in 2IN. And then for the width, it's a 7-inch wide label, and 2.5 of those inches are on the back. So that means that the front side needs to be 4.5 inches. So now I have that in there, and it's going to create a box for me. I'm going to go ahead and move that over here, and I want to make this white. So I'm going to double click. So now I have the beginning of that label. Now there's also specific measurements of where the label needs to go on the cover. So I want to make sure that I get this in the right spot. So it needs to be 2 inches from the bottom. So there's a couple ways that we could do this. There's the ruler over here, and we could do some measuring if we wanted. If you right click on the ruler, you can always change it to inches because that might be more helpful. So you can do that with Control on a Mac or a right click. So we could measure that. That's one way. So here's 8.5. So 2 inches would be right about here. And then what you could do is draw a guide. So click and pull. And you'll see that I could go ahead and set that 2-inch mark. And then we can align this right there. Another way you could do it is we know that this is 2 inches. So we could also just duplicate this. And then when they line up and delete the other one. So however you want to accomplish that is fine. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to paste it on to this other page. Because now I want to make sure I get the inside label as well. So I'm going to paste in place, which means that now I know the height of this is correct. But this does need to be over here on this side. So I'm going to slide it over holding Shift so that it holds in place. And then now I need to make this 2.5 inches wide. Well, one handy thing is that I can come up here and I can make sure that this is selected. So that'll make the reference point, this point here. And I'm going to go ahead and make the width 2.5 inches instead of 4.5. And that'll go ahead and shrink that label down for me. So now I have these things where I need them. So now it's just a matter of putting the text on top. But I think the first thing I'm going to do is lock all of these items. So I'm going to select these. And I'm going to come up here to Object, and I'm going to lock them. That way I don't end up moving them on accident. I know that they're going to be in the right spot. I'm going to do this on this one too. So now the next step will be to flow in the content. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a text box. And I'll go ahead and flow in the correct text. So that's also on the assignment sheet. And then there's some specifics here. It has to be Helvetica. And we're only allowed to use certain weights. So I'm going to go ahead and use Helvetica Light. And then I'm going to change it to 10 point. And I'll go ahead and get that where it needs to be. So it's centered over on the side. I'm going to press W so I can see. Looks about right. So now the only other thing I need to do is get my combining letter form on this inside. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up in Illustrator. So I have that over here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and select this, and I'm going to copy it and paste it into InDesign. There's other ways that we could do this, but I think for the sake of this assignment, this will be the easiest. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that. It's up here. I'll bring it down. I'm going to go ahead and size that, so I'm going to hold down Shift so that I keep it all proportional. Go ahead and kind of get that in the middle where it needs to be. Alright, so that's all ready to go. And then the one last thing I need to do is just add that back cover. So I'm going to go ahead and come to the end of this document. So we'll add a page down here at the end. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw another black box and put that on top. Alright, so now this is ready to go. Another thing we might want to do is actually check the spelling. So you can do that. It's Command I. And it'll actually go through and check the spelling of the document. Remember that some of these words might not be in there, but it might help you catch mistakes that you've made. That also lives up here under the Edit menu. So Edit, Spelling, check spelling. So it's something that you might want to do. It's also important to go through and make sure that you don't have any widows or orphans. Make sure that there aren't any issues with the file. But once you're sure that everything is ready to go, you can go ahead and export this as a PDF, because that's going to be what we need to turn it in for this assignment. So I'm going to go ahead and come up here to File. I'm going to go to Export. And I'm going to go ahead and use the naming convention. And I'll go ahead and click Save. You want this to be on smallest file size, since we're just going to be viewing this on screen. You want all selected pages. And then everything else should be good to go. Then you'll want to go ahead and click Export, and be sure to look at that PDF document. Ensure that there were no issues, that everything's how you intended it to look. And then you can go ahead and upload that to Blackboard. So hopefully that helps, and as always, if you have any questions, please be sure to email your instructor, but that should get you through the process of finishing and uploading the Type Fundamentals book.